Hot off the press, my friends, the June 19th update is postponed. We're going to break it all down for you in today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. As always, if you enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. On top of that, if you got a question, if you got a comment, let me know because I'd love to hear from you as always. And feel free to join us, our amazing community and Discord server, because we had it there right away and maybe first. Well, regardless, nonetheless, as a free-to-play player myself, we got a lot to break down in today's episode. We're going to talk about what led up to this. We're going to talk about this and additionally kind of consider some of the output. Now, there's both good things and bad things. And for me as a free-to-play player, I'm going to share my point of view in particular, and you're free to like it or you're free to dislike it. Let's see what you have to say in the comments or in the Discord server, my friends, around that. Now, down below, you can find all that information in today's timestamps. So let's talk about this here first. So roughly in the last 36 hours, 24 hours, the Kingdom CookieRun Discord server has a feedback channel. In that channel, there was so much stuff that went back, and mostly negative, to be fair. Now, some of you have given really positive suggestions. Many of those positive suggestions I've seen in my comments as well. So thank you to everyone that did that. I really always appreciate those things. There isn't, in my opinion, no right to always get frustrated, get mad. I think you can share your opinions in a professional way, a nice way, and certainly regardless, the community was heard, and now the update is postponed. So that is exactly what happened. There was so much feedback in that Discord server that led to this postponement of the update. A couple of key pieces really around that I do want to touch on for a little bit. First and foremost here was a lot of players disliking the Ancient Plus, and disliking the Ancient Plus for the key fact that you had a Dark Cacao and now a Dark Cacao Dragon Lord cookie. So two separate ones. Now, we'll come back to this in a little bit because there's a point that I want to make around that. Many players also felt that this was a huge pay-to-play thing. Now, to be fair, again, we'll come back to this because we got some other key pointers that I think are useful for consideration. Now, that is ultimately probably the two biggest things, my friends, around each of these pieces for the essentially non-release here of the update. For me as a free-to-play player, I am certainly actually a little sad. I'm not really frustrated. It is a part of gaming that I like to accept, and additionally as part of a gaming with a community like you, which I fully appreciate as always. Now, a couple things around this though that I do want to call out. Because of this delay, we don't know how long the delay is. I know many of you said it's going to be 2 weeks. The reality is, if you watch my free-to-play video on how to get the lovely Mystic Flower, a couple things here always. These events were already scheduled to be over. Yes, what does that mean? They were scheduled to be over even before this was done. We actually had a 2-week overlap. Some of you have said, well, it's going to be a 2-week delay. At least I've seen that. This was always there. I called this out because of this right here. Many of you said it's not possible to get the Mystic Flower cookie via free-to-play because you can only actually get up to 240 or something like that. But the reality was we had still 2 weeks. Now, this is something that I always say. There's generally overlap events. And on top of that, you do have this right here in the shop. Even with that calculated, players didn't think, you know, with the Light of Apathy daily gift, it still goes for another 14 days, my friends. So wanted to call those pieces out. Now, a couple things that we do need to be cognizant of here. In this release and the postponement, we do have all ongoing game events and shop deals will be extended until the update is released. Well, I think a big one here is if they're able to pull it off and keep doing this, we're going to get some more Light of Apathy through your daily missions. If you haven't completed stuff like me, you still might have a chance as well. And again, yes, I'm a free-to-play player, and sometimes I still can't get everything. However, I did get Mystic Flower already in my gacha, and you can check that out here on the channel. So those are a couple of key pieces that I did want to call out. So let's go ahead and now talk about some of the additional good, and then we'll get into what I consider some of the ugly. With that, in terms of this update notice, again, the biggest piece was the fact that the Kingdom team listened. They listened to you. It is amazing to hear that. What I'm hopeful of is maybe that's going to change some of the cycle. Now, in terms of the ugly, I am a free-to-play player, and I truly, fully accept the fact that I am not always going to get everything right away. I'm hopeful, and I say hope, and hope is a terrible strategy, that I will get the opportunity to get some of these things. Now, why do I say that? Well, actually, the biggest one that was most upsetting for me was the last update when we did get this thing right here, the Great Sugar Boulder. I cannot place the Master of the Futility Fog because it's a package that you got to pay. Now, I was hopeful, am hopeful, again, not a great strategy, that maybe over time we'll be able to get some of these or have some different ones. Some of you have suggested maybe you should get this when you complete the episode 3 all the way on hard mode. I think that's a great suggestion as an example. So those are one of my concerns. Now, I know that, again, some of the concerns when it does come to dark cacao cookie in general here, a couple things here. Really two. The first and foremost one with dark cacao cookie was the concern of a paywall. I don't think that was necessarily true. I think it was similar to Mystic Flower. Now with Mystic Flower here, we don't get Mystic Flower until after that 14 days still goes by. Then it goes in normal gacha. That was going to be the same, I believe, for the Dragon Lord. And in fact, the Nether gacha, we get Light of True Resolution. And we saw that some of that Light of Resolution was going to change from the other light for the Mystic Flower. So those are a couple pieces that I had originally seen. Additionally, not only are we getting this rarity, we do have Gacha of Fate here as well. Now we're not going to necessarily have Gacha of Fate, and we have Fateful Cookie Cutters. I can't imagine that that stuff's going to go away necessarily. So when I'm talking about some of the ugly is these things that we have now broken and don't necessarily know what's going to happen. Now, I did get a lot of feedback and questions on the fact that Dragon Lord Dark Cacao Cookie is a separate cookie. I'm going to be honest here. This is actually truly occurs in a lot of other games. You have a cacao or a base character, and that base character gets different names, different conventions. And you know what? Typically, it becomes inflation, power creep, whatever you want to call it in terms of gaming. They get a little bit stronger. I frankly did not have a problem with this. I actually thought it was pretty interesting that they did a new cookie as well. However, one thing that I thought about in this particular case was the fact that maybe it was easier actually to do the development and design of a brand new cookie because they're rolling out cookies so often and so fast. And on top of that, the sheer fact that they already had the base model with Beast Plus. So it's easy to convert this model with Ancient Plus. So lots of coding that could have been done and produced better. So those were a couple of pieces. Now, why can this be also ugly as a free-to-play player? Well, the reality is we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know when the next release is going to be. That also means that we get probably one less release this year. And as someone that loves new content, not because of being a content creator, full disclosure there, because I actually really enjoy all the updates that they make. I would honestly say, of all the updates that CookieRun Kingdom has done and Dev Sisters has produced, there was only one that I didn't really have great enjoyment of, which was the Town Hall one. I did not play that much. I did not like it as much, and it was just my personal taste. It had nothing to do with the cookies that were released. I just didn't like clicking into a million things that were going on, and it was kind of slow. So that was a personal issue that I just ran into and my personal point of view. The other thing that we did see is, and most likely the statistics of logins and those things, and I felt that in the community back then, dropped. So what did they do? They brought in Stormbringer. Great. And they went back to Beast Yeast. Great. And now we have the Beasts of Beast Yeast, and now they were trying to do Ancient Plus. So with that, couple things for consideration. They're not really truly ugly, but just some pieces that I wanted to call out so that you could consider a different point of view instead of just being upset about this cookie, because I know many of you are upset out there, and I'm just telling you it's not doom and gloom. The community got what they wanted. Dev sisters listened, they heard, and they delayed the update. I just want people to know that there is certainly an impact on that. Plus, as a company, this game is not free to play. So, and what do I mean by that? Even as a free to play player? No, what I'm saying is there's a cost of upkeep for us just to play these things on the daily that needs to be supported. On top of that, all these great updates and content they do produce that does need to be supported. Frankly, I am not surprised by any means that they did this. As an example, the Great Sugar Boulder paywall. So, you know what? For me, not really a big deal because they gave it to a boost in resources, and frankly, I don't log in every day to just boost my resources. So I'm not too worried about it, or I should say I do log in every day, but not just to boost my resources, and I typically don't keep them full, and you can see that right here. So again, that would have been a waste for someone like me regardless. So those are a couple things. So where does this take us, or where does this lead to next, my friends? Well, let's talk about a couple things here, because I do think there's consideration in this and merit in this. When we look at this update, we have to think about a couple things in terms of game dependencies, development dependencies, those kinds of things. The storyline is certainly key. Now, we're going to come back to this. If we think that there's other pieces, we may see kind of like a mini release instead of a full release. I think Gacha Fate is going to have to change as well, so we'll keep going. I do think after you get past those first couple things, you can get Peach Blossom Cookie as an update. I think you get New Magic Candy as an update. I think you get all these other things. This is what I talk about: Light of Apathy, True Resolution. That's, again, we're not going to get the master difficulty now. We got Windmill Garden, we got Rally Effects, we got Leader Pop-Up. Some of that stuff might be different. I was very, very excited, my friends, to get Cotton Cookies Boost. I was. And the periodic healing up by almost 50%. Huge. Anyway, there goes all the other strategies that I had. With that, everything else. So that leaves us with a few considerations here. The bigger ones are going to be this Ancient Plus, the Nether Gacha, some of these things with the Ancient Plus, Dragon Lord, Dark Cacao Cookie, and last but not least, some of the tactical skills in episode 4 here of Beast Yeast. Why do I say that? These two pieces might very well be intertwined. If they are intertwined from a development perspective, we might see that cut of a short release and then a rework of this, and then also on top of some of the ugly, how much more development was behind this that we did not see. That's going to change a ton of stuff. We can think about a Beast with Shadow Milk. We can think about an Ancient Plus with Pure Vanilla. Many of you have already asked me about that. On top of that, what about everything else, my friends? They could have had their own arcs and their storylines and the Ancient Plus stuff already sorted. So those are a couple other impacts I like to call out. I like to break those two and provide that dichotomy there for you in terms of some of the easier things that could go in the next update now, or what else do they have to consider, rework, or those pieces. All those things are yet to remain to be seen. Most likely also what could happen, and this was one thing that I did agree with, was they did say that Ancients, Dragons, Legendaries, all that stuff should have Soul Jam. They did only roll it out to Legendaries first. So again, to be fair, games change, things evolve, and I actually do like what they did with the storyline and where this was going. Am I truly upset that they did this? I'm only bummed because I was looking forward to the next update. Now, regardless, I'm more excited at the fact that they listened to the community, which is always great, particularly for me as a free-to-play player. However, again, most of the spend comes from relatively few people. That's kind of how these games work, and how pay-to-play wins. Pay-to-win. Pay-to-play works. So with that, my friends, that is today's episode. I wanted to break down a few things for you here. With the latest announcement, the June 19th update postponed, a little bit more put together from my point of view, at least for me, and how I view these kinds of things. We talked about the postponement. We talked about what led to the postponement. We also gave you some points of view, both good and bad, however you look at it. The experience is an experience. and a point of view that I have and share, at least from myself, in terms of a free-to-play player. Am I disappointed that this is not going to drop? Yes. Is it going to drop at some point? Absolutely. How or with what? That remains to be seen. And with that, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I appreciate everyone's comments, everyone's feedbacks, your considerations, particularly around this in the community, and your amazing suggestions that you've put into the comments and in the Discord server, my friends. And with that, if you still have them, let me know, because I'd love to hear from you and would love to see you in our amazing community Discord server, my friends. On top of that, thank you. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes and the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community. On top of that, thank you to all of our members. As always, we do have memberships available to you. We also have a swag and merch store and affiliate links that you can check out. Something there for everyone, as I like to say, and it is a very nice way to support the community, my friends. Don't forget our socials, at me, chat me, stay connected, my friends. I love showcasing your stuff here on the channel. I love staying connected, as always. And with that, onwards and upwards. We're looking forward to seeing what happens here with the postponement. Great for us to be able to stay connected as a community and see what happens from that. With that, we'll see you again soon. Until next time, keep on running.